Imagine someone took the Binding of Isaac, threw it in a blender with Into the Breach, added a colony of dysfunctional cats, a dash of South Park humor, and a touch of Junji Ito-style body horror, then hit puree. The result is Mewgenics, the new game from Edmund McMillan and Tyler Glyle, and possibly the most chaotic, absurd, and irresistibly addictive roguelike you'll play in a long time. If you were looking for a reason not to sleep for the next 3 months, you just found it. On paper, it sounds insane. A turn-based tactical roguelike where you breed cats, send them off to fight rats, cockroaches, and nightmare monsters, and manage a small feline colony from your home between expeditions. The premise feels like something cooked up as a joke between friends at 3 in the morning, but underneath that absurd surface lies one of the densest and most ambitious design systems the genre has seen in years. The game puts you in charge of up to 4 paths per expedition, each assigned a classic D&D style class: fighter, mage, cleric, ranger, tank, druid. Everyone comes with base abilities tied to their class, plus a randomized set of skills that ensures no 2 cats are ever the same. From there, you set off across a map of zones filled with random encounters, shops, events, and most importantly, combat. Battles play out on small grids in the style of Into the Breach, where each turn demands quick but meaningful tactical decisions. Attack, spend limited mana on spells, reposition, anticipate your enemy's next move. There's enough depth to make every fight feel distinct, but the accessibility of the design keeps you from drowning in statistics. It's not as surgical as Into the Breach or as punishing as XCOM, and that's fine. Mewgenics doesn't want to be a perfect puzzle. It wants to be a story. And this is where Mewgenics does something few games dare to do with such conviction. It embraces chaos in a completely deliberate way. Your healer contracts lycanthropy and turns into a werewolf right when you need him most. Your best tank gets infected with distemper and becomes uncontrollable. Your druid grows mutant eyes that have a chance to make all allies flee in terror every time he uses his team buffing song. Is it fair? No. Is it frustrating? Sometimes enormously so. Does it make every run feel like its own irrepeatable, absurdly memorable story? Absolutely yes. Some runs that look completely lost from minute 1 end up as epic victories built from the rubble. There are documented cases where an Ebola outbreak that infected the entire party was turned into a weapon, using the cleric's OCD-driven grooming compulsions to manage the symptoms while spreading the disease strategically to enemies. In another scenario, a cat with blood frenzy, a condition that grants an extra action for every kill but makes him so violently insane that he ends up devouring his own teammates, turned out to be the final piece of a completely broken solo cat build, where he generated swarms of flies, killed them, ate them, and stacked 20 turns per round before the final boss could do anything at all. That's Mewgenics, a game that beats you down with bad luck and then hands you the tools to turn it into something extraordinary. The key is not to resist the chaos, but to ride it. That said, it would be dishonest not to acknowledge that the RNG sometimes feels genuinely unfair. There are random events that can torpedo an entire run without giving the player any way to mitigate them. A cat that smells bad and causes all allies to waste their movement action walking away from him, for example, can cost you an entire opening round at the worst possible moment. And when a run can last more than an hour before everything collapses due to a string of bad luck, the frustration is real and valid. It's the price you pay for the kind of emergent storytelling the game generates, but not everyone is going to pay it with the same smile. Between expeditions, you return home, and this is where the other half of the game lives, managing your cat colony. And when I say managing, I mean attempting to manage, because the cats have very strong opinions about everything. The breeding system is staggeringly detailed. Every cat is practically unique, a combination of physical traits, stats, abilities, and even a distinct voice generated from a library of over 12,500 recorded meows from celebrities, internet personalities, Macmillan's own kids, and more. When 2 cats mate, their kittens convincingly inherit DNA from both parents, creating lineages that weave through your adventures over dozens of hours. A cat that came home from an expedition transformed into a stretched-out Junji Ito-style monster can found an entire dynasty of bug-eyed half-freaks who, despite their unsettling appearance, become vital members of your adventuring parties. The management is not an exact science, nor does it pretend to be. You can assign cats to different rooms to keep groups separate and place furniture that influences their behavior, but ultimately they do what they want. They mate with whoever you didn't choose, they fight, they form relationships, and they poop absolutely everywhere. Your role isn't to control the colony with surgical precision, but to gently nudge it in the right direction and make the most of whatever unexpected synergies emerge. The deeper you engage with the system, the more layers unfold. Unwanted kittens can be donated to a local NPC who, in exchange, reveals more and more information about your cat's inner lives, their inheritable stats, their full family trees, even their sexualities. Some cats simply aren't interested in the mates you place next to them, and figuring that out can take several in-game days. It's a design decision that might sound tedious on paper, but in practice generates little "oh, that's why" moments that feel like genuine personal victories. The overall progression works like a slowly rising tide. You don't control exactly which cat inherits which stat, but over time, the general quality of your breeding stock improves, and each generation steps onto the field slightly better equipped than the last. The variety of classes and build possibilities is one of Mewgenics' strongest suits. Take the Ranger as an example. On the surface, it's a standard archer archetype, but depending on the abilities it rolls and the equipment it accumulates, it can become a long-range assassin that deletes enemies before they can act, a machine gun that fires multiple times per turn, a sentry that takes automatic shots at anything that moves within range, a crowd controller that lays traps across the arena, or a summoner that spawns familiars to slow enemy advances. 5 completely distinct archetypes from a single base class. That diversity multiplies exponentially when you start combining classes within your team of 4. A cleric focused on designating an alpha and buffing that leader can transform any other cat into an engine of destruction. A mage with the right abilities can blanket the entire battlefield in a single turn. A tank with the right mutations can absorb absurd amounts of damage and turn suffering into strength. Non-linear progression reinforces this replayability in smart ways. Quests to unlock new paths often ask you to revisit earlier zones with new modifiers and challenges. Every class unlocks additional abilities by being taken through old areas across multiple runs, and there's a system for replaying sections of the game on higher difficulties to face more powerful boss versions and unlock even more content. The creator confirmed it takes over 500 hours to 100% complete the game, and after dozens of hours, most players report having barely scratched the surface. The soundtrack deserves special mention. Composed by Ridiculin, every boss has its own custom catchy theme. That level of detail, giving every significant encounter its own musical identity, adds enormous personality to the game and makes every victory feel like the closing of a chapter. You can't talk about Mewgenics without talking about its tone. The game is a direct window into Edmund Macmillan's brain, where evangelical Christianity, Magic the Gathering, body horror, and poop jokes coexist with complete naturalism. It doesn't reach the full edgelord territory of The Binding of Isaac, which practically tripped over its own dead baby jokes, but it's still a game more inspired by early 2000s South Park episodes and Newgrounds culture than by anything in the modern landscape. That's worth considering. The immature humor, the grotesque elements, and the scatological references are a core part of the game's identity, not accidental decoration. For those who enjoyed The Binding of Isaac on that front, Mewgenics will feel like coming home. For those who find that kind of humor a barrier to entry, it's better to know upfront, the game isn't going to apologize for its aesthetic. All things considered, Mewgenics is an impressive achievement. The density of its systems, the variety of builds, the depth of the breeding mechanics, the sheer scale of content, and the game's ability to generate genuinely memorable, emergent stories place it among the best roguelikes in years. It's Macmillan's most ambitious work to date, surpassing even The Binding of Isaac in scope and complexity. But it also has weaknesses that can't be ignored. The RNG can be brutal without offering sufficient tools for mitigation, and long runs that collapse due to an unfortunate sequence of events can be genuinely demoralizing. The onboarding is steep. The game rarely explains everything you need to know, and the first several runs are largely a trial-by-fire learning process. Combat, while engaging, can become visually difficult to parse in high-action situations, even with the tactical view enabled. And the game's particular brand of humor simply isn't for everyone. For those willing to embrace the chaos, learn from every defeat, and find joy in the unpredictable, Mewgenics offers hundreds of hours of genuinely varied content with a replayability that few games can match. It's not a perfect game, but it is an extraordinary one, and that difference matters. Mewgenics is what happens when a developer takes a ridiculous idea all the way to its logical conclusion with complete seriousness and genuine talent. It's absurd, it's chaotic, it's sometimes unfair, and it's one of the most addictive and original roguelikes you'll find. If you have even a single gram of love for the genre, there's no excuse to miss it. Is it for you? If you enjoy The Binding of Isaac, Into the Breach, or any roguelike that rewards adaptability over perfect planning, the answer is a resounding yes. If you're looking for something controlled, fair, and predictable, Mewgenics is going to make you miserable in the best possible way. Or the worst, depending on your tolerance for chaos. Either way, you've been warned. What happens next is on you. Thanks for watching.